Hi there, I'm back, but I have to go again. I've done my best to keep up with it all, as you know, dear viewers. So, this is going to be on Trump in May. I won't rave. I'm just itching to know, what the cards have to say. And one has fallen out, which I will show you momentarily. So this is about Trump in May. All right, back to the Rider-Waite for this. So, come on down. What he got in the very centre, 9 of Swords, very worried, not without reason, very upset, not sleeping. I don't think he's had a good night's sleep since the 80s, but this is different. This is deep anxiety and tension. So let's see what else is happening for him. All right. Now, for those of us who do not like Donald Trump, who do not trust him, who are very afraid of what he is capable of doing, for all of those who have concerns about Trump, this reading should give you heart, because these cards are not looking good for him. Okay, so in the centre, anxiety and misery. So, the essence, if you like, what's going on for him, the decision he made to run for president was extremely foolish. As many people have said, you know, if he just stayed in the real estate game and do all this, he could, keep getting money from the Russians and turning over real estate and keeping the wolves from the door and having a very pleasant life. But he stupidly decided to go for the presidency. And now, across that, he's out in the cold. We know he's isolated, and this is only going to get worse. He doesn't have any serious people in a political capacity who have his back. Even the Republicans, they will jump ship when the stock market starts to really rumble at the end of this year and into next year. They'll be gone in terms of supporting him. He's dragged Giuliani back into the fray, or Giuliani has put himself up for the fray, but you're dealing with one person at a time who then falls over. I don't see how Giuliani cannot be done for conflict of interest, but we'll see what transpires on that front. But Trump is very isolated. The root of his reading is the Hierophant, and so it's the root of his misery, which is the government. This is a man who knew nothing about how government worked before he decided to become president, and it shows. So it means the government, but also the slow wheels of justice, the legal system, the fact that there are 3 arms of government, and he really has failed to get that. So this is everything about the system is onto him. We know this, all right? So, recent past, the Queen of Cups, that's the emotional Donald Trump. I just work on my gut. I just work on my instinct. Well, that's what ran you into 5 bankruptcies, love. You know, like, please, spare us the gut, spare us the instinct. You'd like to think a president was also capable of making an independent thought and who was capable of concentrating on issues for more than 3 minutes. He isn't. He's an emotional creature, and this is what has driven him. On top of his reading, the Three of Pentacles, the black money, the group work. So if you take this line on its own, he's very worried about his dealings with money with other people, and the system is onto it. So no mysteries there. It's affirming what we all know, which is it's the money laundering and that stuff which is going to bring him undone as much as obstruction of justice. Right. So coming up for him in the near short term, have a look. Conflict. So it's conflict that has no resolution. That's the important thing about the Five of Wands. It's pointless conflict. This could be his inner mental turmoil that is his emotional state, and or people fighting him, fighting about him, all this stuff that ultimately there is no victors here with this card. This is just the threats and the pushback and why don't we do this and we should do that, but it doesn't have a resolution here. How does he see himself? The harvest. Was it worth it? No, it wasn't. So it's got two meanings. Its literal meaning is, have I got enough money? I'm worried I haven't got enough money because his legal bills, apart from anything else, are going to be colossal. And already he's tapping his alleged 2020 campaign funds for the legal fees. 20% have already gone on legal fees. This stuff has barely started, you know. Okay. But the other meaning outside of money, Pentacles also rules the body. So this figure thinking, was it worth it, it's going to take its toll on his health, his mental health and his physical health. So he's not feeling marvellous, you'd have to say. Against that, you have his fountain of energy and optimism is still functioning. So while I think there's no doubt he has very dark times and is very miserable in the job, he can still pull himself up and go, oh, but I can do this, I'm president. This is the golfing, this is the good times, this is the counterfoil to the miserable emotions. This is his ego-driven emotion, which is saying, I'm the most powerful guy in the world, I got here. But is it enough? And the answer is no. Interestingly also, we're beginning to hear the little birds. There's first wife, Ivana, mother of dragons, and she's said publicly now, on the record, he should just resign and enjoy his fortune, was her phrase. I seriously doubt he's got a fortune, but let's just roll with that. Just resign, Donald. Also, Howard Stern, regardless of what we think about Howard Stern, who's always been a Trump supporter, he has said, Donald, why didn't you come to me for advice? I'd tell you to just walk away. Isn't it interesting? Now, we know Trump picks up on these ideas. I think he has thought seriously about walking away. We're not there yet, viewers. We're not quite there yet. But part of his loop is, this is fabulous, I'm the leader of the free world. This is a nightmare and I'm really miserable. But part of it is seriously thinking of walking away. Yeah, he's fallen short. He's pretending it's all right. The celebration is there, but the festivities are limp. This could be his mythical parade that 87% of the armed forces actually don't think is a good idea. Did you read that poll, Donald? Waste of everyone's time and money for his wanking ego. So the card of celebration, but not quite being up to the job, falling short. This is under isolation. So he's actually not just not happy in the job, he's very miserable in the presidency. Oh, coming up, judgment, trumpet call, people of America rising up. I would suggest this is the midterms. He'll be judged electorate by electorate as these special elections come up, and as the nearly 40 Republicans who are resigning for family reasons leave, he's being judged by all this. Something else Howard Stern said, I never thought I'd be quoting Howard Stern, but he knows the guy. And he said, this job's no good for Trump because Trump wants to be liked, wants to be loved. He's not feeling the love, which is why he keeps leaping out on these campaign-like things. He's not feeling the love, and he is going to be judged. And he has never had to experience the consequences of his behaviour before. This is brand new for the almost 72-year-old Trump. He's not used to being accountable, and he's not used to having to defend himself. He always attacks. Now he has to defend. He has got the strength card, so that's in his favour. I think because it's next to judgment, it is also indicating there will be some strength of support from some remaining Republicans. Maybe the Old Testament mob, maybe the Old Testament evangelicals will stick by him. We'll see long term, but short term, I'm thinking they'll stick by him. So this conflict that goes round and round is being played out. Retreat, getting away from it all. Now, this is someone who gets away from it all 3 times a week, if not 5 times a week. This is not a Mar-a-Lago retreat. This is a bigger, more important retreat, meaning fuck off, if you want to put it in the most spiritual of language. This is a bigger retreat. This is a response to, do I want to spend the next 2.5 years in misery, or am I going to go? Now, what I'm saying here is, we're talking May here for the Donald. I'm just going to pull another couple of cards on that, but I'm not suggesting he's going to walk away in May, if only. Not that, but the option of leaving, which was there really from the beginning as a little flicker, that's growing as each part of every day is more tense and less satisfying than he dreamed, and more worrying, and it all builds and builds and builds. It's becoming a more serious option, and that doesn't surprise me in the extent that I think for a lot of readers, this is what we've all tended to pick up on. Whether an impeachment itself goes ahead or not, he'll end up walking rather than being officially sacked by the Republicans. Although the Republicans, there's more and more and more and more and more talk about putting up alternative leaders in 2020. That means already a significant number of the GOP are looking past Trump. So he's in trouble. So let me just do another quickie specifically on May, because it struck me as being a bit general. Sorry, that was early in the shuffle. May. More like it. Okay, May for Donald. Remember, his other reading started with the 9 of Swords, the crying figure, This is the bound figure. May is the month he realises there's no way out. That's why May is very important. Even though I think it's more likely to see more indictments in August and so forth, we may see some in May. But May is the time he realises the game's up. No matter how many more months he stays, he realises in May. And the reason I say that so strongly is because hope is in the past. He's hoped through all this that things would blow over and he'd be able to bluff his way through, but the hope has gone. And the world, several meanings, as I'm sure you now know, dear viewers. The world, he is a world figure, even though he's so spectacularly not up to that job. But see the treadmill aspect to this? So in this image, the Rider-Waite, there's this cloth wrapped around the naked figure, and in a way it's a beautiful, sensuous thing, but in another way it's almost like a snake trapping the figure. And the wreath of victory is a closed circle. So what I've described before as the treadmill aspect of the world card. It also has the meaning of it's a cycle coming to an end. So having done that general one for May, this is much more specific. May's when he gets it. So if nothing else, console yourselves with the fact he's miserable, he's going to be more miserable, and he's really going to be a caged lion in May. I think by the end of May, we'll see a different Trump again, the one who is going to start retreating more, I think. Lashing out, retreat. Lash, retreat. So that's how I see May for the Donald. Thank you all. Bye for now.